Welcome back to the Wealth Builder podcast. My name's Nick Donato, and I'm a financial advisor at Guidance Financial. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by Ethan Donati on the podcast. Me and Ethan go a long way back. We've known each other well before we were both professionals. Ethan has an interesting story. As he says himself, he's gone from social anxiety to being an expert marketer and international speaker. Today, we'll discuss building confidence, mindset, and personal branding with an expert. So, Ethan has many accolades. He's a five-time Two Comma Club Award winner, Young Entrepreneur of the Year a couple of times. He's got a book. He's spoken on TEDx. So, done lots of things. So, thanks for coming in today, Ethan.
Thank you for having me.
One of the other things that you did is you've brought David Goggins and Gary V, I can't say his surname, but Gary V to Australia and
Yeah.
to come and speak. How did you go with that?
Yeah, I mean, those are the biggest, I guess, business things that I've done in the last couple of years was, yeah, David Goggins a couple of times in Australia, Gary Vaynerchuk, 2023. And they both came about just from, I guess, just taking massive risks to try to grow the business faster, essentially. So, both of those tours had a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of stress because of especially the financial outlay that was required to pull that off, and then not knowing if something's going to go wrong, if you're going to make your money back. It was just a big risk. All those things were a big risk, but it was really paramount to growing the business near the beginning to fast track the growth, I think.
And yeah, big risk that seems to have paid off. I saw you on billboards and heard
Yeah.
you on the radio and whatnot. So it definitely got you and your brand out there for sure.
100%. Yeah. I mean, the media and everything surrounding it is second to none from what we experience here.
Oh, that's good. But taking a step back,
Mhm.
in terms of your book, going from social anxiety to becoming an international speaker, standing in front of stages of thousands of people, I take it,
Yeah.
and heaps of people. What sparked your transformation?
What sparked it essentially was, well, I think a few things definitely sparked it, but the biggest one was just having this kind of epiphany moment where it was like, I'm either going to keep going down this path of social anxiety, can't speak to people, can't really make friends, socially awkward, or I can just try to do something that kind of just makes me stand out, you know? So for me, it started from just wanting to be not the same path I was going down. And I kind of just thought about like what's the alternative? What's the worst that can happen if I do try to make a difference or try to change myself? And the worst case scenario really wasn't that bad. It was either like embarrassment or like what's actually going to happen that's that bad. So there wasn't anything that kind of stopped me. So I just started taking risks, started doing what was the most scariest thing, and pretty well published that public speaking is the biggest fear that most people have in the world. So I decided to master the one thing that definitely people wouldn't expect me to have done, let alone anyone really to go after because it is so different. It is so scary for most people. So that's kind of how I began. That's really how I started. That was what sparked it. It was just that fear and that frustration of being, um, just socially inept and couldn't do anything really.
So just facing your fears, basically, facing
Exactly
them.
right. Yeah, facing the biggest fear that was literally head on. Whatever it was scary. Obviously, everything was scary when you start off, but I just kept doing it, kept going through it, and to the point where it became very, very natural and not scary at all. Yeah, the first thing that kind of made me get rid of the fear was University of Melbourne. I was teaching there for a bit when I was like 21 years old, 22 years old, and that was probably the most fear I've ever had on a stage, and there were only 20 people in the room. So once I did that for like 6 months, then the other stuff became a little bit easier. Like bigger audiences become easier because you can't even see the people. It's just like you're just speaking. So yeah, that's the first thing that kind of got rid of the fear for me was Uni Melb teaching.
Yeah, and I guess knowing your stuff would
Yeah,
also knowing your stuff back to front, whatever it is, whatever profession you're in, marketing or financial planning, accounting, whatever it is, would
Yeah.
probably also go a long way, knowing that you can probably answer 90% of
Yeah.
questions off the bat.
That's right. Yeah. The confidence just in no matter what you're gonna ask, it's gonna be answered fine. So yeah, that's 100% correct. Yeah, just knowing your stuff.
So I guess building confidence was a big piece in that. So I guess as a young entrepreneur, how did you build your confidence in your business? Was it just by getting exposure, by doing facing your fears and getting in front of the 20 people and then the 30 people
Um,
and 40 people, or
well, there was a confidence in the business and there's confidence in personal traits. And I think that confidence in the business came from being good at what I was doing. So like my first ever clients were people that I knew and I was already confident in my delivery because I knew what I was doing and the way I was able to help them was pretty easy for me. So, but I don't think that was really the biggest factor of the growth because a lot of people are good at what they do. A lot of people are really good at their skill set. They just don't have any clients and they don't have any visibility. So yeah, the biggest confidence boost that came from when I improved my personal traits. When I improved my personal confidence, then that's when there was no more limitation to what I could achieve. So if I had to start all over again, I think that I would really focus on personal growth first, and that's what will lead much easier to the rest of it coming up second. I mean, yeah, because the business stuff is comparatively easier than improving your own self-esteem, your own traits, and your own skill set individually.
Mhm. So building yourself up led
Yeah.
to your business flourishing. What are some of the ways that you did build yourself up, so to speak?
Um, I think the very first thing was identifying what the issues were, which were, well, I can't grow a business if no one knows who I am. So, but I don't want anyone to know who I am because I'm scared of people. So that was the problem. So the first thing I did was I went to like different business groups, like business networking groups. And honestly, I thought that was like very, very strange. The dynamic there is very awkward and very full on. So I didn't really but I went there just to kind of see what I could do. The first time I went there, I actually had to bring someone to like do the talking for me. So when I worked at Nestle, I had like a good mate there, and he would come with me to the business events. He would do all the speaking, and I would just do like the ads when they kind of converted. So the first few times were just still the same, until eventually the second step was can I speak on one of these stages? And then yeah, I got a business coach, and he had a connection to a person in Europe, and I was going to Europe for a holiday. So one of my first ever gigs was in Zurich, and that was actually really easy for me because no one knew who I was, and I wasn't going to plan to go back there anytime soon. So I was kind of like freeing. And then I did that one, and I got a bit of momentum. And the year after, just before COVID, I started taking really small risks and like spending $10,000 on ads or on an event of my own. And then I spoke for literally, I think, a 6 hour day in Colorado as my first test for myself. So I think it was taking risks and then pushing myself in those ways, out of those boundaries to really just almost, I just forced it. Didn't even think about it really. I just forced it.
So forcing yourself to I guess take that risk and then have a little fallback or little, no parachute, so to speak, in sink or swim kind of
Yeah.
situation, speaking in front of all these people.
Yeah, that's right. And I was young enough to take that risk. Like, I was young enough to where it was if I did fail, if I didn't make any revenue back, or I got no sales, or I got no clients, there was going to be enough time to fix it. So yeah, just like a logical decision making tree of is this risk worth it or not? And the answer was yes. And the first one failed big time. I like lost the 10 grand that I spent on the first ever one that I did. Um, but then from there, I kind of took off. After that one failed, I was much better from there. I got like, my skill set up.
Building the skill set, building your brand to then become, to get to where you are today.
Yeah.
So, if there were some strategies other than, I guess, just facing your fears, some
Mm.
strategies to give to the listeners on how to overcome, your fears and build your confidence, especially in a professional space. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been to um, those networking events, and they can be daunting, especially if you don't know anyone.
Yeah.
But from a professional perspective, building that, confidence and some strategies, if you have any, if you used
Yeah.
any?
Yeah, I look, the kind of strategies that I used were literally exposure therapy. That then, I mean, just exposing yourself to what was the scariest thing possible for you. And I think that most people settle on something that's pretty easy. Like honestly, if I was to say, yeah, what scares me is going up with someone in a networking event and saying hello, that's actually like it could be scary, but it's also not a massive leverageable event and it's pretty easy to eventually do. I think people need to just focus on a bigger overarching goal. So I think if you're in business and you're wanting to think, well, how can I grow it faster? Well, the answer is getting in front of more people. And the way you do that is advertising yourself, whether it's social media or in person or wherever, having more mass distribution. And then, yeah, if you're the one speaking, you're the one on a webinar, you're the one at a personal in-person event, there's one speaker to every, 100 people in the room. So just by mathematics, you are already doing what most people won't do, which is going to get you seen more than most people anyway. So I think the advice is just do the most leverageable activity that can get you in front of the most eyeballs as possible. Um, and by doing that, it's also going to be a bit scary and it's going to push you to make everything else around you quite easier by comparison.
Yep. So if it's not public speaking or international speaking, getting, your Facebook ads or
Yeah,
ads out there,
360%.
social media is definitely blown up. Or,
Yeah.
I can't say it's blown up. It's a massive thing today in 2025 where people brand themselves and,
Yeah.
get exposure to their small businesses or their businesses.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one thing to do. And I guess you built up your personal brand and you're big on your personal brand as well.
Yeah.
And I guess that's through the exposure and getting your name out there. I take it.
Yeah. Well, the personal branding part of this, yeah, came as step number three. So
What's
I
step number two?
Step number two is getting on the stage, it's like being a speaker. Step one was starting the business, just having some kind of skill set. Step two was getting on the stage. Step three was the personal brand. I think some people, like a lot of people that come to the events, they think, oh, I have to build a personal brand or a personal name first before I can start. And that is the wrong way to go about it because no one has a name for themselves before they start. Like I definitely did not. So personal brand came from advertising and doing the events and then yeah pulling off the hard ones. So I think when my personal brand started to really launch was in 2020 at the end of 2020 when it was still yeah lockdowns, COVIDs, everything was a mess. But I had a famous marketer called Seth Godin who did a webinar with me and we had 3,000 people attend live, which was the first big, I guess, virtual event I ever done. And once that happened, then I was able to go to, for example, Mark Burris or Naomi Simpson, and they all just started saying, "Yeah, we're happy to do an event with you too." So it's kind of like a snowball effect, you know. So the personal brand only happened because, I had done all the other stuff first, and then I started promoting it more aggressively with people that also they were already established. So I also was able to work with those people who already had the brand and by kind of like transpose to help me as well.
So one of the biggest mistakes then would be that people try to establish their personal brand first rather than having some substance behind them through a
Yeah.
business, a small business, some substantial work behind them, before
Mm.
they jump in.
Yeah, some people waste years trying to build a following up on like Instagram followers or TikTok followers, and they do this through organic marketing, and it can be very slow and quite painful to post on Instagram every single day. I don't want to do that personally. So for someone doing that, that's just going to be a very slow way to go about it. So yeah, I definitely think that if you have some clients first, some proof first, then you just promote it. It's gonna be much faster and much less of a headache than trying to build everything personal brand wise first, and then you realize, oh, hang on a second, like I can't monetize this.
Mhm. Is
Yeah.
there any other, mistakes that, you'd tell people to avoid when building their brand up personally or,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of mistakes. I think like biggest mistake that I've seen is I've seen people buy fake followers and they buy like, for example, I've seen people buy 1 million fake followers. You go on their profile, they have like 20 likes. It's very obvious that you've done something a bit dodgy there. That's a big mistake. Um, Other mistakes are having not having a specific focus point or speciality. I think many people just try to build a personal brand for the sake of it, and they get into like affiliate marketing whereby they promote other people's products. So you spent all this time building your name up, building your followers up, and then all of a sudden, instead of monetizing it with your own, you know, way of doing things, your own method or your own service, you've gone and sold other people's products that might not even be, perfect what your audience needs or what you actually talk about. So I think people go for the easy route too often when it comes to this kind of thing, like affiliate marketing, drop shipping. When you can build your own brand, your own services, you're much better off long term.
You definitely see a lot of Instagram reels and a lot on social
Yeah,
media around, drop shipping and using your own,
yeah,
setting up your own business, leveraging off someone else and whatnot. So there's a
mm,
lot of stuff out there
yeah.
like that.
Heaps. There's heaps of stuff. Yeah,
But that's interesting to hear. Interesting to hear though.
yeah,
Um, Another one of your, when you bought out Gary V, a lot of your title or the subject line of
yeah,
your tour was around
yeah,
mindset and
yeah.
mindset matters, if that's right.
Yes, the Gary V one, mindset matters. Yeah,
So I guess from a mindset point of view, I guess
yeah,
if you're not having a personal brand or running a business yourself, it'd still
mm,
be from an employee level or from a business owner level. Mindset plays a big part in becoming a successful individual,
mm,
professionally, personally, as
yeah.
well. What are your mindset principles?
Yeah, mine's like that's a huge one because even like David Goggins one was called Adapt or Die, and Goggins is all about like mindset, and he's like very that's probably the mindset leader in the whole personal brand and influencer space. So it's probably the most important thing when it comes to success, and I didn't realize that for a few years to be honest. But I think the biggest principle that I would say has the biggest impact for me is removing all of the emotion from the outcome, and that's very difficult to do because humans are emotional, but yeah, I think mindset wise, this the second you can differentiate between what you're doing emotionally versus what you were doing logically is when you'll start seeing consistent returns. Even I'm sure you would see with people that are investing in different things and they're like, I want to, it's losing money. I want to sell everything now. And people get emotional at different times for different reasons. So it's same in business, same for employees, same for really anything. You need to find a way to have a clear goal, have a clear direction, have a clear outcome, and then whatever it takes to get there, you just need to do it regardless of how you feel about it. So it's removing the feelings from what you know needs to be done. And I think that's what David Goggins really but when I saw David Goggins in person, when he was the one that I was interviewing and he was going at the crowd about different answers, it was just like it's just to watch him in person, it's so clear how he's able to differentiate, whatever needs to be done, he's just going to get it done. It doesn't matter how he feels, if it's painful, if it's difficult. He just knows, okay, here are my steps to get it done, and it's going to be done. It's game over. So that's what I would say is get rid of the emotion.
Yeah, as you said, we do see that in the financial advisor investing space where we try to, I guess, segregate the emotion out of investing because
Mm.
COVID earlier this year when Trump came in and there's some wars going on, and in April we had a big downturn in the market. You
Yeah,
know, it's natural to not be happy or impressed when the market goes down,
yeah,
but you'd look at it from a structural point of view and whatnot, and hopefully withstand the emotion depending on
mm,
time frame and objectives and all the like. But
yeah.
hopefully we can hold out and wait for the market to recover and take that emotion out of it.
That's right. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But yeah, steps. So yeah, Goggin sounds like he's got steps, and then he just smashes them out from a mindset point of
Yeah,
view.
it's just insane. The guy he ran what 240 miles on a with an ACL injury. Like that's just insane. Doesn't care what's going to happen. Doesn't matter what's happening around him. You're just going to get it done. And that's yeah, that's I think that by far the best. mentality I've seen and witnessed live is just his, just unrelenting um, effort to get things done.
So out of all your, speakers and the people you've met through your
Yeah,
years, would
yeah.
he be, you know, up there as one of the most interesting or most impressive people?
He'd be number one. He'd be number one. Yeah, for yeah, obviously how he is on stage, but more so for what is off stage. Like he's actually a very humble, down to earth individual. Had hang out with us like for dinners. He's just very just down to earth, to be honest. So yeah, he'd be number one by far of the experience overall. Yeah,
And him or any of the other people you've met
Mm.
along the way, if or yourself, if you've got any, do you have any tips to improve that mindset to, help people achieve their
Mm.
personal, financial goals, whatever they may be?
Yeah. Look, I think the biggest mindset kind of viewpoint is that. I think especially with David Goggins, what he was kind of saying is that a lot of people like to talk or set goals or talk what they're going to do. Like they kind of plan all this planning, but they don't do anything. And there comes a time where you have to stop all the planning, stop all the thinking about things, and get to the execution part of it. And that's what most people are lacking because obviously 2025 we have more access to information than ever before. We have AI now that is really quite mainstream at this stage, and people have more. It's actually easier now for anyone to get results from anywhere. But the unfortunate truth is most of us want all these massive goals, but are either too lazy or just don't put enough effort to get it done. Because if you really wanted to have an outcome, you can go on Google, go on ChatGPT, go on whatever you want and find the answer. It's now about executing. So, yeah, the biggest mindset advice, and I think what I've been around is simply that there's a time where these people that have got to this level, they just execute at an unbelievable level. There's less talk and less thinking, and just execution is the biggest one now.
Yep. Execution, as you said, AI is a massive thing
Yeah,
today, and it will be probably in the future as well as it continues to develop. We've
yeah,
actually had a couple of chats about AI on the podcast
yeah.
recently, so
Okay.
there's a lot in the AI space, definitely.
Mm,
But I
yeah.
guess execution, as you said, to get out and have a sound plan in place, but then actually follow through and execute what you want or what you've planned
Mm,
out to
yeah.
hopefully get you to where you want to be today, tomorrow, in the next 10 years.
That's right. Yeah, just getting things done, having clear plan, clear direction, and the how to is the easy part. How to you could find now. Yeah, use whatever you want. Use AI, give you the how to. AI kind of makes brain cells optional now, even in marketing. Like it makes everything very, very easy. So yeah, there's no excuse anymore for people just to execute and get it done.
So that's I guess the execution, the mindset is the biggest takeaways that you've taken from all your international speakers from all these large
Yeah, I think
people.
I think it sounds like it sounds pretty simple, but honestly, that's what by observing all these different people, it is actually simple. And we kind of, I guess, overcomplicate this most of the time. Is just like, thinking about all the combinations, thinking about all the possible actions that we could take, and then end up taking nothing or just overthinking things as humans naturally. So I think the less that you can overthink, the less you can kind of bog yourself down into the details, and the more that you can just go at a high level, this is what I want to be able to achieve, this is what I want to be able to do. Developing a plan to achieve that is the simple part, and executing is the hard part. So yeah, I think thinking less, getting out of your own way, turning off the brain almost, and letting your instincts follow you along the path.
And then, so that's the mindset piece around that, and the people you've spoken to. But from your personal business,
Yeah.
building funnels and the like, what do
Mm.
you do in your? Do you want to give us an overview of when you're not
Yeah.
speaking, what you do?
Oh, when I'm not, yeah. So when I'm not speaking, it's the hard stuff. Speaking is now the easy part. It's like the fun part. But day to day, I'm doing client work. So social media ads or funnels, writing, copywriting, websites. The whole digital space we do start to end. So yeah, most of my days are spent in the nitty gritty on the computer doing that, not the fun on the stage speaking side of things. Yeah, that's what I do most day to day.
So what we can see is there's definitely some grunt work behind the speaking, and then
Yeah.
you've got to lay the foundation with the grunt work to then one day be
Yeah.
successful or be as successful as you are.
Yeah, you have to do that. I mean, you have to do the hard work first, otherwise you can't speak about anything really. So, yeah, these days speaking is like what once a month, once every 3 weeks, and the rest is all just yeah on the computer, talking to clients, getting the work done, pretty much.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
Yeah,
Um, last one to round out the
yeah.
podcast and the conversation. Do you have anything big coming up? Anything big planned that we should look out for in the next 6 months?
Yeah, look, the next 6 months are going to be yeah they're not confirmed because I'm getting married in March, which is like 4 months around the corner. So
Congrats, congrats.
thank you. And then so look, we're just planning around. We're planning around. Are we going to do something before that, afterwards? So look, nothing's massive internationalized will happen. I'd say for the next year. But yeah, we're still planning on what's going to happen next. A few small events, Australian marketing summits coming up soon. Our normal workshops, I would say, but yeah, other than that, nothing huge at this stage.
No worries. Well, thanks for giving us the inside scoop and the inside word. So thanks for coming on today.
Thank you very much.
No worries. So that's a wrap for today's episode of the Wealth Builder podcast. Again, thanks to Ethan for joining me and sharing his insights and giving us the scoop about what's to come. Thanks to everyone for listening along as well. If you like today's episode, feel free to drop us a message or share it with someone you might know who finds our conversation valuable. And I look forward to bringing you the next episode in a fortnight's time. But until then, have a great day.